is my job as a geriatrician kind of like being a stuntman? I'll explain today on The Wrinkle. So I'm probably indicating my age here, which is fine, right? We're not ageist here on The Wrinkle. But have you ever watched that show, The Fall Guy? It was in the 80s or maybe even the 70s, and Lee Majors was the star. Yeah, he was the actor who played Bionic Man. But after the Bionic Man gig, he had this show called The Fall Guy, and he was a stuntman. And it was kind of a silly show. I don't know if he solved crimes or whatever, but it was called The Fall Guy. It was kind of a clever title because the fall guy is a person who takes the blame for something. So it could be, for example, in a scandal, when they pick somebody to kind of be the scapegoat or to take the blame or to get fired for the scandal, or for some other gaffe or problem or something like that. The fall guy is the one who is kind of sacrificed. They take responsibility for something, usually something difficult or negative. So in my job, I am often the fall guy or fall person. Let's say fall guy. Let me give you a couple of examples. So an example might be that a person is living with dementia and their family doctor has known them for a very long time and has a really strong therapeutic relationship. But the person needs to stop driving because of the way that their brain has changed. That's often a very difficult discussion. And if the family physician were to have this discussion, it might cause friction in that therapeutic relationship. It might even threaten that relationship. So oftentimes, a family physician will send the person to see me, a specialist geriatrician, to review whether or not it really is time to stop driving, and then to have that difficult discussion. You know, it's important for me to have a therapeutic alliance with a patient as well, but if I'm only going to be seeing this person one or maybe two times, then it's okay if they blame Dr. Diddick for being the person who took away their license. That way they can go back and work with their family doctor. They can kind of blame Dr. Diddick for taking away the license, but they can move forward and still have that therapeutic alliance and caring relationship and trusting relationship with their family doctor. So that's one pretty common situation where I'm the fall guy. Another instance might be when we're making a diagnosis of dementia or major neurocognitive impairment. In order to do that, we really have to look at a person's day-to-day function. And we have to be able to sort of point out examples where the person's day-to-day function is being challenged because of their memory. So, for example, we might have to tell a person, well, you know what, there have been a few episodes of the pots being burned dry on the stove because of changes in memory. Or we notice that the medications just aren't being taken correctly anymore. To make these observations, we usually have to rely on information from another source. So that might be a friend, or most of the time a family member like a partner or one of their kids. And if the person who's living with dementia perceives that the family member is kind of narking on them or informing on them, maybe even behind their back, that could understandably be very upsetting, and it could get in the way of the relationship between the family member and the person with dementia. Oftentimes, we have to be a little bit crafty. It's still really important for me to get that information, but sometimes it can be given in a letter or in a separate appointment. Some other way that we can get that information and we don't have to talk about it in the room with the person who's living with dementia. I encourage people to give that information because it is so valuable, but it can be difficult to share. And I do tell people who share that kind of info that I'm not going to necessarily reveal the source to the person who's living with dementia. It's just not necessarily important for them to know who it is who's made that observation. So we find other ways to convey the information that the function has changed without throwing the family member under the bus, to use an expression. In the end, I don't mind being the fall guy. It's a way to allow us to kind of come to a diagnosis or a treatment plan using the information that we need to use. And if I have to sort of take blame for being the person who places restrictions or delivers a difficult diagnosis, then that's okay. I can take it. It's really just important that people are able to preserve their therapeutic or family relationships with the people in their lives who are going to be involved with them in an ongoing way. It's not perfect. Oftentimes, much as I try to be the fall guy, sometimes when there are these difficult transitions or when difficult information is received, there is unfortunately some blaming or some anger that's directed at family or at primary care physicians. Sometimes it's just unavoidable. But I think that's natural. And if me being a fall guy helps to mitigate that a little bit, then sign me up. I'm just glad I don't have to jump off of a tall building because I am a little scared of heights and pain. I don't really want to experience the pain that I think real stuntmen and women have to go through.